Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today is an exciting hop for Kristin Carlson. She finally passed her 1,000 subscriber benchmark, so we are celebrating today. This is one of her layouts that I found on her Instagram. I will link her Instagram here. It is 1K Carlson, and I was just going through her feed, and I really liked this one, and I really thought it would go really well with the products and the photos I was trying to use. So that's why I decided to use for my inspiration. Pretty much just going to do what she did with her base design. I want two papers to create my background, and I'm going to use a branding strip to cover the seam similar to what she did in her layout. And I'm really going to try and pull a lot of what she did on hers into my layout, so hopefully you can see how that translates. But these are scraps from the first page I made with this collection, which you will see later on. Obviously this is the first of the month, so you're seeing this layout first for How to Kill a Kit with Style, but this is actually the second page I made with this collection. And so a lot of these are scraps from the first page. So you'll see it's a companion page. This is when we were at the Edgar Allan Poe Museum in Richmond, Virginia, when we were visiting my brother. So it's kind of a continuation from that page, which you'll see later. I'm going to try not to repeat too much of the stuff because I really go into a lot of the details on the next layout. But yeah, I really wanted to get this base design down similar to what she had. I really wanted to pull this plaid in with the pink polka dot and this floral that I used from the first page. So I'm trying to make sure I get all of that together. I'm glad I got a branding strip used up. And now I'm trying to figure out how I want my photos. I really want to do something similar to what she did. She had two vertical photos, but one's larger and one's smaller. I have 3 photos here, so I'm going to try and stagger them the same way she did, except for there will be 3. But I do want them to have different sizes, just kind of as a nod to that. But also making my photos smaller will give me more room to embellish. So I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. I'm adding everything in white just to give me a nice base to layer off of. This one, again, I mentioned this a lot in the next process video you'll see, but this is the Poe Museum. He's a creepy dude. I want to put some creepy things on this page. I really love playing with this Felicity Jane, this pretty happy collection, and kind of adding a little bit of that dark creepiness to it, because I really feel like that represents Poe. A lot of these really fun die cuts and these non-Felicity Jane elements I got from Ronnie, and I was dying to get them on a page, so that's kind of where the extras came from, but I think that they were just the perfect thing for this page. So again, Kristin had this kind of horizontal branch, like a shelf where she built up off of her photos and all of the embellishment. So I'm going to try and do a similar thing. I really wanted this floral represented because that's a main pattern on the companion page that you'll see next. But I really thought that would be a nice layer to be my shelf element to build off of. And then here's this pocket card element. You'll see me fussy cut that on the next page, but I didn't use it on that page, so I'm using it now. Kristin had some floral elements on her page. She also had this black and white lovely text kind of for her title, and there are several black and white words that look very similar in this collection, so I'm going to try and use one of those as well on my page, kind of as a nod to her original. So just trying to reference her layout back and forth as I get going with this design. And I'm just trying to layer up my photos in a similar way. So this main photo is at this little shrine of Poe, and then I have this bust of Poe to the left, and then this little photo to the right. Oh, it's so creepy, but very much Poe. That is like some of his actual hair, and it's so gross and creepy, but I had to include it because it's a Poe page. So I took a picture of it and I just fussy cut it down a little bit smaller. You can read the text on there if you really look in, but I'll kind of journal next to it explaining that that's Poe's hair. But that's what that is. And so that's kind of my photos, and there's these 2 pocket cards of this neon kind of greenish yellow. One of them came in this collection, but one of them Kelly actually sent me with a bunch of like miscellaneous pocket cards, and so I thought it was so perfect that I had 2, because that way I was able to stack them on either side and kind of make this look like a larger piece of paper. I am going to gut pieces of this in case I need this color for other elements, but I'm just going to tuck that on either side of my photos to kind of create this larger layer of this green polka dot. And I really like how it's the same color as this floral, but the same pattern as the background, because it kind of brings that all together and makes it cohesive. But I think that's really nice, and it gives me a nice base layer to build more off of. So I'm just trying to figure out how to gut those bits to save as much as I can, and then I'll kind of wedge those in there. But I'm just trying to make sure it looks lined up so that it reads as one piece of paper, even though they're two separate pocket cards. So bring in my ruler so I can make sure they're straight. It helps that the background is dots because I can make sure it's at least straight on that side, but I want them to be equal. And then I just decided to move this floral up to the top here. And I'm just going to have it running into that branding strip that kind of divides the two sides of the pages. So I think that looks cool too. There's the family piece I decided to use to kind of as a nod to the lovely piece that Kristin used on her layout. And now I'm trying to add a couple more layers. She used some really nice like label-y bits to be her layers, and I didn't really have any labels in this collection, but I did decide to take a scrap of this floral and trim a fishtail banner out of it because the B side is a white and neon yellow stripe. So I thought that would be a nice layer to pull in within this color scheme. So you'll see me kind of trim that into 2 bits and tuck it on either side of these photos. And that's kind of my version of the labels that Kristin used. So I think that's a nice little touch as well. You can see a bunch of the die cuts to the left here from Ronnie. I can't wait to pull in. There's a white skeleton, and as soon as I saw it I was like, that would be awesome for a Halloween page, but I'm in the middle of doing this Poe layout, and like how cool, like I just thought it was so cool to add that kind of creepiness onto this page. So I'm getting the skeleton on this page. I can't wait for a Halloween layout to use that. I think it's so cool and it's so on theme for Poe. Here's another branding strip here I thought about using, but I decided against it just because I think it went too far off of Kristin's layout, and I think it ended up being a little distracting. But another thing she sent me, oh my gosh, these little crocheted flowers. I think she heard me just go on and on about the little cutesy flowers that were crocheted that Christina sent me in my last How to Kill a Kit with Style, and she sent me a whole baggie of these cute little crocheted flowers in all different colors, and there were 3 black ones, and I was like, these black crocheted flowers have to go on a Poe page. Like, they add such a cool texture and dimension, but just the black flower, just I thought it on this page with the skeleton added that kind of gothic vibe I needed, and I think they're so cool. So I'm trying to spread them out to create that visual triangle. They are really bold, so I want to make sure they're kind of create that instant visual triangle and are within each of these 3 clusters I'm going to try and create. Just because I know they kind of grab your attention immediately, but I think those are so cool. And then I also have a little scrap of this black trim. I use that on the other layout that you'll see, and I try to get it on this page, but I end up saving it for something else. But I do have this really cool kind of fence die cut. Marcus really wanted me to use that on the first page that I did, which again you'll see next. But I already kind of had the design for that page when he wanted me to use it, so I decided to use it on this page, and I think that adds a really cool touch too. I'm loving these kind of creepy pops of black on this very happy, bright, colorful page. I just think that kind of gives you that Poe vibe. It kind of makes you do a double take, and I explained that on the other layout. I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but I really want you to, when you see my Poe layouts, for them to look all pretty at first, and then the more you look at them, you kind of see these different creepy elements, and I think that's so fun. So I got that kind of fence die cut up there at the top. I think that's cool. I want to build out this cluster with this floral a little bit more. I thought about using these little acrylic hearts from Redefine Creative, but I decided to stay more on theme with what I did on the other layout, so I pulled in one of these little white tags from Ronnie. I do put the leftover trim through that tag, but it ends up not, like, I don't know how it was laying or just the way I tied it, but it ends up being distracting. So I take it off and just use normal black and white twine, but you'll see me try and use this twine. I think it's so cool. But I end up not using that. I'll struggle a little bit with it trying to tie it to be the twine on this tag, but I just end up going with normal black and white twine. But I'm just trying to pull in a lot of the cool elements from the other page I did for this event. And there's still 2 more layouts after the next one of the Poe Museum. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing with this stuff. So yeah, that sits there for a little bit, but you can see it's kind of distracting. It's just not laying how I want it to lay, so I'll end up going in with other twine. You can see I am going in with the leaf die cuts. These don't end up staying. I thought it might be nice because there's some leaves in the die cut set to add them to these crocheted flowers, but they're kind of just a different color scheme. They're more of the bold versions of these colors. Like, it's a different green, it's a different kind of coral, a different kind of yellow, so I just end up, I try adding the plus signs to see if I like it better, but I really want to save this when I'm using those colors from the collection, so I'll take those off. I'm just trying to add something to each of these clusters. I want something else, but yeah, those leaves weren't it. Those leaves and those plus signs. I'm going to go ahead and glue the tag down, and then trying to decide if this is when I change the twine or not. But I have all these die cuts from Ronnie on my little dish there, as well as like the sticker. Like, this is the sticker from my shirt that I saved from the museum, and it says the Poe Museum, Richmond, Virginia, with their little logo. So I really wanted to get that incorporated this month on one of these Poe layouts. So I'm really glad I got that sticker used up. I used one of the pins that I got from the souvenir shop on the other layout that I had made so far. So I think that's really cool. But the die cuts Ronnie sent me, she also sent me like a massive bag of a whole bunch of different hearts that she die cut for me. And these little outlined black ones I thought were so cool. So I pulled out 3 of those to have in each of my clusters as well. This is where I go in and switch out the twine for some plain black and white twine, but I think these black doodly hearts are so cool. So I end up going with those instead. I looked at this page at the end, and I was like, wow, I only used 1 die cut from this actual collection. Everything else was from Ronnie. But I think it's so cool. So I think I'm going through the bag because I found 2 hearts and I just needed 1 more. Here's the die cut I ended up getting on there. It was just a black and white home tab. I wanted to use this on the other layout, but because it said home, I was like, well, we're not home. But then at the same time, I was like, well, they call this the Poe house. Like, it can work in that context. So I put it on this page, even though I didn't put it on the last one. So I have that black and white little tab. Here's the black doodly die cut hearts from Ronnie that I think are so cute. And now I'm going to end up, I'm thinking about, I want to get more die cuts used up because I'm aware that I've only used the 1 tag from this actual collection on this page, but I was like, you know what, I like how it's looking. I don't want to force any of this stuff on. So hopefully I'll get them used up this month because I'm already not using this actual collection in favor of things from Happy Mail, but I just like this better, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm about to take off all the hearts and the flowers just so I can get my Tombow Mono multi-glue on them. I love this. This is super strong glue for non-papery things. I'm going to use them for these paper hearts just because I have them out, but I love this glue for gluing things down like these crocheted flowers. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. One detail I really, really like from Kristin's layout is that she did some doodly lines around the edge of her layout. So while my glue's kind of trying to solidify and get tacky, I decided to go ahead and do my doodly lines around the outside of the layout, and I love what that adds. I would not have done that on my own, but because I'm using Kristin's layout as my inspiration, I decided to go for it to mimic what she did, and I think that looks so cool. That adds so much to this page. So I'm really happy with that. And now that my lines are done, I'm going to go ahead and glue back these flowers and the hearts where I had them. And I think I'm almost done. I do want to do a little bit of black Nuvo drops to kind of go with the last page I did. And the last page I did, I also had an area where black paper was torn. So I decided to do that again. I wanted something because I have this black die cut at the top, I wanted some black detail at the bottom, and I just think this torn edge looks really cool and kind of adds to the creepiness of the Poe Museum. So I'm going to glue that down. I think that looks awesome. I do want to kind of add to my title. Right now it just says family, and I don't want it to read as Poe's family. This is a family like trip that me, my mom, and my brother did, so I'm just going to add visit underneath family, so it reads family visit. So instead of it being family in relation to the Poe stuff, it's a family visit where my family's visiting the Poe stuff. So hopefully that makes more sense. And then I'll do a tiny bit of journaling right under that photo too, where it says Poe's hair and the date. Just in case you can't read the photo, because that is that's creepy, and I want you to be able to understand what that is. So yeah, I've got visit down. I do my little Nuvo drop clusters. I'm just doing 3 little two dot clusters, and then I'll do my tiny bit of journaling. But this was a fun one too. I am really enjoying doing the Poe Museum with this collection and Ronnie's goodies. So here's where I'm just doing my little bit of journaling, and then you'll see the close-ups. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll link everybody who's playing along in Kristin's hop today. Make sure you check her out, give her some love, and help her celebrate her benchmark. That's really exciting that she reached 1,000 subscribers. So everyone will be linked in the description below so you can follow along. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.